Now, welcome back to the Rock Your New Year Health Goals series. I am Brianna here, and today on day 4, we are covering deep breaths and rest, or stress management and sleep. Such an important area, such an important to talk about in regards to managing our overall health. And, I just think when it comes to our bodies and our well-being, we all know we need to sleep and we all know we need to manage our stress, but we actually don't know often the connection that it has on our bodies and our mind, and even the impact it can have on our nutrition and our exercise, right? So I'm going to briefly just talk about a little bit about that today, as well as give you some practical tips around how you can manage your stress and sleep more this new year. Again, if you are on live with me or watching the replays, please let me know you're here. Feel free to ask questions and comments throughout. All right. And as a reminder, before we dive on in, the early bird price, as well as the scholarship application for my Healthy Habits Jumpstart program, closes tomorrow, January 14th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. That means if you really want to get support for 30 days and solidifying and really establishing some foundational healthy habits to jumpstart your goals for the new year, you need to apply for the scholarship or grab the early bird price and get the bonus 101 call with me, all right? And how I differentiate whether or not you should apply or pay is that, if you really believe that, which I think is very important, that you believe that investing in yourself and investing in your health is the key to your success, and just for you to be really committed to yourself and your health and your goals this new year, I really believe you should pay for it. And that's why I have an early bird option that's 25% off. But I also know that some people that I've talked to really want to do this, but life has just hit them hard and they just cannot financially swing it. So that's why I would say to apply for the scholarship. I'm giving one lady a full scholarship. Okay. All right. And so let's just dive on in and get started. I will say actually all the links for the scholarship application to grab the early bird price and the overall details of the program are in the kind of explanation part at the top. When it comes to stress and sleep, up until a few years ago, I really underestimated how much lack of sleep and stress actually impacted my personal health. It wasn't actually until I was studying to become a health coach, so that's actually like 7 years ago, that I began to see how stress is literally killing our bodies, our minds. You see, many of the preventable diseases that our world is facing have been impacted and have been driven actually by too much stress and too little sleep. We are chronically stressed, both mentally and physically, and our bodies are constantly in the fight or flight mode, and it's activating our sympathetic nervous system that really is about releasing a bunch of hormones, doing different stuff in your body to help you deal with threats. But the issue is we're constantly threatened. So our body never can go back down to the opposite, which is your parasympathetic nervous system, or that rest and digest state. So it just always thinks it's in a state of rush, in a state of anxiety and stress and overwhelm. And so what happens is when you're in that constant state, your body, regardless, when you're in that state of that fight or flight mode, your body shuts down other parts of your digestive system and all this sort of stuff. It just says other things aren't necessary. And so that is why if you are chronically stressed, you can actually have a lot of digestive issues, right? Because your body's like, I don't really need to deal with your digestion because we are constantly dealing with this stress, all right? And then if we aren't sleeping, that perpetuates the cycle, and literally our bodies can start to break down, because sleep is when our bodies go into that rest state, right? Sleep helps our body restore, rest, and also helps our cells and body repair themselves. It regulates our hormones, all of the really important hormones, not just your female ones, but cortisol, insulin, leptin, ghrelin, that manages actually even a lot of those play into factor, not just with stress, but also with nutrition and hunger and all those sort of things. And so sleep can even help you regulate your blood sugar, hunger levels, and cravings. Therefore, it's crucial that if you want to lead a healthy life, you want to manage your weight, you want to prevent illnesses in the future, and you really want to just be your healthiest, best self, that you manage your stress and sleep. All right. So the first step that I would recommend to really managing particularly stress is to identify your stressors. Like, what is actually causing you stress? Take out a sheet of paper and identify the common stress and triggers in your life. Do you get stressed about work, finances, family members being sick? This pandemic has been quite stressful for a lot of people. Your kids, like Are you being a good mom? Like all these different things, like what is stressing you in your life, and just be honest about that, right? And then number 2 is creating alternatives. So now that we have identify our stressors, what are our current responses to stressors, and what should our responses actually be? Or what can we do to shift that stress? Because I think this is an exercise we will do actually in the Healthy Habits Jumpstart. It's one that I commonly recommend to clients is the eliminate, reduce, and cope method. Basically, what stressors can I eliminate? What can I reduce, and what can I just cope with? Because often, there's certain stressors in your life that if you just took action on it, it would eliminate it. Some you have to reduce, and some you just have to cope with. And so creating a strategy for each of those is very, very important, right? So if a situation, doesn't go as planned, and you have a negative mindset about it, for example, rather than thinking it's the end of the world and just giving up on something, you can express gratitude for what did go well, right? Say if you had this health goal to walk 2 times a week, and for some reason you walked 1. It's like, okay, well, like, don't let that stress you out. Or, or even if something like, you have a project coming up, and there's so many factors happening. Am I going to have enough time to do it all? What can you do instead? And, in this particular season of my life, I actually do, I think, relatively well at managing stress. But I've just been noticing, like in the middle of the night, maybe when I'll wake up to use the bathroom, or my daughter wakes up, I'll like start thinking about everything that I need to do or needs to get done, and start worrying about something. And in those moments, I just ask myself, like, and this is something my husband does really well. And he, I got this tip from him, like, what can I actually do about that right in this moment? I can't do anything. Or so I should go back to sleep. Or what can I do about it tomorrow or the next day, whenever I'm actually going to address it? So I get out, I have tons of, like, my desk right now is right by my bed. So I have tons of like sticky notes and papers here. So I just like, okay, you want to do this thing. So this is what you're going to do tomorrow. Boom. Then I put it on my planner, stick it to my planner, and saying, this is how we're going to address it. So that, like, it's just there. And that helps with sleep. Because guess what? A lot of times people are really having trouble with sleep because their brain is just overactive and thinking about a bunch of things. All right. So you want to identify your stressors, create alternative responses, and then that's powerful in regards to stress. But also one that I would recommend for stress is breathing. And I talk a lot about this even with clients, just the power of breath work. And I've seen this, when I was recovering postpartum from having my first child. I went through this postpartum kind of fitness rehab program, and some of the key things they talked about is breath. Like, you just did breath for a few weeks. And first of all, I was like, why? But it was like reconnecting my core and my breath work and my diaphragm, and learning to all that sort of stuff. But also, I just think in that season, like when you just have a baby, there's a lot going on, and it can be very stressful, especially if you have multiple children. And so actually breathing is very good for your mind and your body to heal. And so breath work and breathing is one of the best ones you can do. There's tons of different breath work and exercises, but the basic box 4, where you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, you breathe out for 4, and you hold for 4, can be very powerful, doing that 2 to 3 times. And it takes a few minutes. But I just think why we actually struggle with breathing or stopping or resting is because we're always thinking, how do we fill our time versus how do we create margin, or just do these simple exercises to really manage our overall stress. Okay. So those 3 can help with stress, right? Identify stressors, create alternative responses, and breath work. And then the 4th, this is in regards to sleep. I do think creating a good sleep routine is very important. And this is actually something we will cover in the Healthy Habits Jumpstart, just like different ideas around sleep routine. And obviously you're not going to get a sleep routine perfect every single time, but like, what are you doing to unwind? What are you doing to let go? What are you doing to express gratitude so you can get your mind and body into that state of rest and preparing for it? Are you putting your phone on sleep mode an hour before bed? Are you dimming the lights so we don't have bright lights that are stimulating actually cortisol in our brain to say stay awake? Because when we dim those lights and allow darkness to kind of fill the night, our melatonin, which helps with sleep, is increased. Are we reading or doing relaxing activities before bed? Like, I love action shows, like particularly law enforcement shows. And sometimes, like, I like, you know what, I'm gonna watch this, right? But some of the episodes right before bed, I'm like, man, I shouldn't have watched that. I feel like very stressed out. And so if there are certain shows you watch that you like, don't that are stressful, don't watch them right before bed, right? You want to do things that are relaxing. So creating a good sleep routine, and that can, again, can have, there's a lot of different things you can do, is something to work on. And then I would suggest, honestly, this is a mindset thing around sleep, but giving yourself permission to sleep. Listen, I absolutely understand sometimes life is busy, there's a lot to do, and that consistent sleep may be the last thing you're thinking about. I wrote a blog post about this a while back, and I challenged myself to practice what I preach when I sleep. I started telling myself that I deserve and need sleep, and it's not just for some people, but it's for me too. And and obviously with young kids, all this sort of stuff, it's harder, but there are things that are within my control, right? I can decide how long I'm going to stay up after my daughter actually goes down to bed. I can decide, am I going to do relaxing activities in the night for both her and me? Like, there are things even within my control around sleep. And obviously, if there's a lot of stuff happening that is, you've tried a lot of this stuff around sleep or even stress, then it's great to seek additional support, whether that's through a coach, even a therapist, or, you know, other health ways, health things. And I love using essential oils to manage both my stress and sleep. And we will talk about actually essential oils quite a bit in each of these pillars we've been going through, just to get you an idea of how they can support you as you shift your habits, how these amazing tools can help you. So we'll be talking about that in the Healthy Habits program. All right, so those are my 5 quick tips for you on how to manage your stress and sleep well. Again, number 1 is identify your stressors, and 2 is create alternative responses. 3 is learn to just breathe, practice breath work. 4 is give yourself permission to sleep. And 5 is really create a solid sleep routine. So from the 5 tips above, I would love to hear from you which one, at least one of these, that you want to implement to manage your stress or manage your sleep, or both. So let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your ideas. And if there's something else that you do, please let us know. And again, if you want support in not just taking these tips and doing it on your own, but you actually want someone to help you walk through this, help you troubleshoot when your plan doesn't go as well, go as planned, I would love to support you in my 30-day Healthy Habits Jumpstart program. In the section, the week that we're going to focus on stress and sleep, we really are going to talk about, really work through, creating different responses through that elimination, reduce, cope technique. We're going to work on breath work. We're going to create sleep routine. And we're just going to really talk about what are some self-care things that you could even do proactively to help you manage your stress and your sleep. Okay. So again, if you are interested, the scholarship application to get that full scholarship for the program is open until tomorrow night, January 14th. 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Or again, I truly believe you're worth investing in. So if you're like, I really want to invest in myself and actually give someone else maybe that scholarship spot, purchase the early bird option. It's 25% off, plus you get a one-on-one call with me, and that ends tomorrow as well. Okay, so thank you so much for journeying along with this series, whether you've been watching live or the replays, or even if you're watching this later. It's great to serve you and support you in this way. And all of these tips and habits can really work for you at any point in the year. And I will say that tomorrow we are wrapping up. We're going to be talking about mindset and thinking positively. And we're really going to talk about just some things to work on creating a strong mindset, because mindset does drive your habits. So it's very, very important. Okay. And then of course, I'll talk a little bit more tomorrow about the program and why I think it's a great fit for you. Okay. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later.